Bonjour, I'm Amira Barkat and behind the camera, Jason. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a challenge. I have a guest. She's amazing. She's unique. I was thinking that my story was unique, but I found someone that his story and his path is more rich, more full. And I'm talking about a very, very, very strong woman. She struggled a lot. But today, she's a very powerful woman. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And we have Jack, our future champion in lacrosse. Who is Marilyn?
Well, Marilyn is a little farm girl that was adopted from the city in Minneapolis, or St. Paul, Minneapolis. Grew up on the farm and definitely had some struggles, had a traumatic loss of my little brother who was my best friend as well. And we worked hard on the farm together and couldn't wait to get our chores done so that we could go play and pitch balls to each other and hit them as far as we could and then go retrieve them and switch off, things like that. But he was taken in a sudden tragic farm accident, and from that day forward it was a bit shocking and definitely changed my world.
But before that, before you were a farmer, you were born in New York City.
No, in St. Paul.
In St. Paul?
Yeah, St. Paul.
Okay. From?
Yes. So what I've learned about my adoptive mother is that she was in college and became pregnant and really struggled and didn't know what to do. So she drove to, back then there was a St. Joseph's Home for Girls, and she drove there and checked herself in and stayed until she gave birth to me, and definitely talked with the nuns and the social workers, and basically decided that after she gave birth to me, she took me for a few days and she took me across the street to the St. Paul Cathedral and got me baptized immediately, and then took me for a couple more days.
How did you know all that?
Yes, good question. Because I had such great parents and a big family on the farm, I was curious, you know, who are these people? What do they look like? What do they do? But I had such great parents and amazing family that I never really wanted to know anything further and meet anybody. But after I gave birth to my children, it kept growing and growing in me that I could not believe how this woman carried me and then birthed me and then handed this baby over to somebody else. I didn't believe I could ever do that. So I started feeling very curious about that story. So I started learning about Catholic Charities and how would I go about learning about any information. And so I was not wanting to meet anybody or do anything severe like that, but I was wondering if there was any information I could get. So I paid for non-identifying information, was an option I had. So what I got was all this information that she shared with the social workers at St. Joseph's Home for Girls. So this is how I found all this out, is that when I did
you met them or not yet?
No. I am actually at the point where I am doing a search now. So I'm not sure how long that will take, and yet at the same time I'm finally ready to be able to do a search. If I meet them, I do. There is a chance that they, you know, won't want to meet me, and then that's okay too. Or if they have passed on, I can then find out information. I think it would be great, you know, to find out information genetically, or if there's any kind of medical history, but also just I may have half brothers and sisters. My kids may be a part of people that, you know, we don't even know, but maybe we get to meet them.
But before she arrived to this point to look for her biological mother again, she went through a lot in her life, to today being like strong and saying, if they are alive, I will see them. What happened you told me that you were abused when you were a child.
Yes, yes, I was. The abuse occurred when I was approximately 5 or 6, and it happened to be a boy that was in high school age, and they came out from the city to visit the farm, and I didn't really remember a lot about it until I was in my 20s, when I was working in St. Vincent's Hospital in New York and helping other kids through their mental health, chemical dependency, behavior issues, suicide, eating disorders, all kinds of variety of things like that. And it actually started to spark those memories for me. And I was having nightmares and dreams, and what I was realizing, now I know, I just didn't realize I was having some post-traumatic memories and triggers that then I remembered the full episodes that actually happened to me. So yes, a boy had sexually molested me and hurt me on the farm when I was young. And I just really started to deal with it in my 20s.
From there, Marilyn, she didn't give up. No. She went to school, she went to university, she worked in different things, from hospital, and she worked in a jail too.
Yes.
Like helping kids that they're like 16 and 17, and they are very dangerous, like killers and very dangerous people. But she wants to be there for them because they know that she's not there to judge them. She's there to help them. Why you choose this like tough job?
I think I've always had it in me that that is what I want to do, is help others, and especially I connect with kids and teenagers. I just have it. I like them. I like their age. I like their energy. I like the challenge. But I think I can relate with them, and I think they connect back with me because they truly know and feel that I care, that I will have their back, that I mean well for them. And that I will listen to them, and that whatever they have to say to me, I will take it to heart, and I will do, if I can, I will do something in my power to talk with them, to listen to them, or to make a difference for them if I can.
From there, she met her, we can see her love, her future husband, the future dad, that she put all her dreams in just one man for 25 years. For a man that she was thinking he is the best in the world, and he is the father that God and universe sent to her after she lost everything in her life. But what she discovered, that it was not that. It was, she lived undercover. Her real name is Marilyn, but we cannot say her cover name. She will tell us why, like from a love story to 3 beautiful children to 25 years of marriage to undercover and hiding from this man. What happened?
Yeah, so it really was about 16 years of a great marriage, a great husband, a great father. He was a coach, did wonderful things for our family. I grew up on the farm, and we still have the farm, so he also liked to hunt, so he was out on the farm, connected with my dad and brothers. They would go hunting, taught my 3 boys how to hunt. A lot of great good things and memories there. And then around that 16th year, unfortunately, he found some prescription drugs. And I did not know what that was at first because he did that behind my back. And the boys and I really struggled. We really kind of would look at each other and scratch our heads and say, what's going on with Dad? And I'd say, I'm not sure. We joked and kind of said maybe he's having a midlife crisis at 45, and he did have some health issues, so we thought maybe that's got to be part of it, and he's just not handling it well. So we really thought that's all it was. He would be angry sometimes, and then other times he would kind of be a little bit in la-la land, weird, goofy, and we just kind of chalked it up for that. But as time went on, it got worse and worse, and he got more mean, more angry, verbally, emotionally, and I found the stash of meds, and that's when in was the first addiction, but was able to get him back to a doctor so that doctor could also talk to him, lecture him, and take it very seriously. And unfortunately, his parents, I found out in the first 3 years of my marriage that they were alcoholics. So I did not know.
DNA.
Yes. So the genetics were there. He stood up and did the right things for our marriage and our kids by not allowing their alcoholism and abuse and depressions to enter our family. And he had promised me he would always make sure that he never did that because he knew how bad it was for the kids involved because he grew up with it. But this all came out after I was married and pregnant, and we're yes.
But it was not just like to be under drugs. He was always showing off with his job, okay? Because he had a badge, and he was covering behind that. He was under drugs. He was under alcohol. He watched like he was addicted to porn, but on the same time, abusing her every night, every time that he get drunk and in drugs. And when he get like watching these things, he go to this little thing because he's like 6 foot, and she 6'3", and she's just like 5 foot something.
2, yeah. Yeah, it was horrible, and I think I look back now, and after my trauma therapy, I did EMDR trauma therapy. I've gone to other therapies, and I still see a therapist to this day. I have post-traumatic stress. Everything that was really severe that happened to me always happened in the middle of the night. So the sexual assaults and rape situations, they all happened in the middle of the night. I was awakened abruptly and frightened and scared. The worst time when he came for that one night was when he had promised he would not ever drink again for like the 18th time. And he came. And all I said when I smelled the alcohol and saw his body parts in my face and was, "Oh my God, are you drinking again?" And like a cougar, in an instant, I was done. He was on top of me. I was under my covers. I couldn't move my arms because he was kneeling on top of me. All of his weight was in arms and hands on my throat, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe. The world stopped. Everything went black. And that's all I knew was I was done. Everything was done. I was done. And then I heard my son, my youngest son, who was 12. Jack. All I heard was, "Mom, Mom!" And I opened my eyes and there was light. There was light again because he had opened the door and the light was on, and he had seen this and of course was screaming because he wasn't sure what to do at only 12. But in this whole commotion that then erupted, I was able to start to breathe again and ran to him, and we're both still kind of, I'm not screaming, but he's, "Mom, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And I literally was in shock, and I was at least breathing, and I really didn't know what to do. And I think what's so sad for me now when I look back is I really was so in shock that I didn't even think to call a neighbor, call family, call a friend. I did not know what to do. But I knew to take him. We ran down the hall to his bedroom. We shut the door, we locked it, we put a chair in front of it, and we just got in bed, and we literally cried ourselves to sleep. Like, but that's what we did. Because, and then for months, we both were in shock, and we didn't talk about it until I had post-traumatic nightmares and dreams. And months later, I had the full dream, and until I remembered Jack was involved, until a mom remembers her child is involved, and it's so sad that we do this as women, but a mom will protect her kids sometimes more than you'll protect yourself. I'm not sure why we do this, but I want to change that in this world. We need to protect ourselves as much. I mean, we protect our children, but now it's time to protect women. Women, girls, kids, all of us. Because, but when I realized that he was involved, that's when I started to go, oh my gosh, my son, I have to go talk to him. I need to make sure, did this really happen? I know it happened, but now I got to make sure. Was Jack there? Did he save me? Did this really happen? And when we talked, yes, it happened. Yes, Jack said to me, I don't want to talk about it. I said, I know, neither do I. But once it was confirmed, I knew right then and there, I'm not safe. My kids aren't safe. We have to do something. I started to really realize how in danger I really was. But that was just the start of it, like the basic start of it. It was still years before. I was still going to save him. I was still going to save him before me.
What do you think about that, Jack? What do you think that you are the hero? That your mom today is here because of you? Because if you didn't open this door this night and you didn't just scream, she will not hear anymore.
Yeah, it was definitely meant to be. I mean, if God didn't want me there at that time, then he didn't want me there at that time. So I'm very lucky that I was put in that position. But at the same time, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, but it's more of a blessing. So I'm definitely really happy.
After all that, after all this man, what he made to this family, okay, the mom gave him another chance. You know why? Because I was married too. We are in a comfort zone when we are married, okay? When we have kids, we always say that he will change. He will change. We give from our life 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. She gave 25 years for the wrong person until one day she had a call. And this call just changed her life. It was a call from your dad. It was like you are waiting for someone just to tell you, get out of there.
Right, that it was okay to get out. So kind of what happened was the last thing I did was do a huge intervention to save him. And unfortunately, I know now that he was sober then for a month, and he really tricked me and fooled me into coming back into the house with some stipulations. For example, he could not financially abuse me anymore. Between the counselors at Hazelden, which is a very famous chemical dependency treatment center in Minnesota, it's where a lot of famous stars come, even from here, from California. It was, it's just a very wonderful place to try to heal from chemicals and alcohol and those kinds of things. So I went there knowing it was one of the best places where he could go get treatment. But he couldn't financially abuse us anymore. He couldn't hide monies. He had to go to aftercare and treatment program. He had to go to marriage counseling with me. He had to make amends to all 4 of us. He had to make amends to the boys and especially to me. He was supposed to start to almost like date me again, like start over with me and understand that if he really wanted to have me in his life and not go backwards, he had to start over. He also had to go to all his AA meetings. I'm trying to think, there was a few more, but those are probably the key ones. And unfortunately, within 3 months, he was not making the house payments again. We were going, he was hiding monies. He was starting to spend money on himself without, like big money on himself without even asking me. He was refusing to go to marriage counseling anymore. He had made amends to his kids, so I thought he was doing that first and then going to come and make it with me. He was still a Jekyll and a Hyde. So the kids would leave and go to school. Now one was in college, one was in high school, one was in middle school. And so the two would go to school, and he would literally be mean to me. He'd say things to me like, you got me out of this house once, you will never get me out of this house again. And I was crushed. My soul and my spirit just kept going down, down, down. And then other days he'd say things to me. I say, if you don't make amends to me, if you don't talk to me and tell me how sorry you are for the things you did, or let me tell you what you did do to me, even if you blacked out sometimes or don't remember some of the bad things you did to me, I need to get it off my chest. I need to tell you, and I need you to tell me that you're going to love me and protect me and do your best to never do that to me again. Like I needed that. I had to have that from him. But the counselors told him, she has to have that from you. Like, you have to do that. Like, if you don't do that with her, she'll never trust you again.
Yeah, but he will promise, but he will never.
Right, and he didn't do it. So you're right. So as he was crushing my heart and my spirit, my heart was already broken and started to be torn apart. Now it was ripped to shreds and gone. And I was going down, down, down. I was sad, crying, praying, crying, praying, and I didn't know what to do. But the one night.
This is the night,
yes,
that Marilyn start to write.
Yes.
Yes. Angels start to talk to her. And she start to write. This is why Marilyn today is a writer and a motivator. This is like a blessing.
Right.
It was like,
yes,
it changed in one night.
Right. When I
How?
was, because I was so distraught and sad, I have lost a lot of people close to me in life, through tragic deaths, through deaths to cancers, through just old age, but very key people in my life. And I was so distraught, I literally started writing when I was crying myself to sleep one night, and I asked God to take me off this earth and please take me to heaven. I literally could not, I didn't know what to do anymore. I was so distraught. I was at the end of my rope. I really wanted to leave. And I started writing all that down that I was asking him. And at the same time, I was saying kind of goodbyes to people so that if God took me, like I was never going to hurt myself. But if God took me, I was saying I love my parents and I so appreciate that they adopted me and how much I loved them, and that I love my boys, and you're strong, you're healthy, you're intelligent, you're going to do whatever you want to do in this world. I literally started writing things like that if he took me, that people would know, the few key people would know how much I love them and appreciate them. And then the next morning I got up and I said, oh my gosh, I wrote some stuff. I think it was kind of crazy. I read it and I said, oh God, I take it back. Because if you take me, my boys have no one. They have no one right now. But I did say to God, I prayed hard, and I said, but if I'm not supposed to stay in this marriage and in this house, then you need to really keep showing, you need to show me, give me signs. And for the next 3 months, they kept coming hard and fast. And again, this special Jack over here, on Valentine's Day, of all days, when I got not one card, not one even nice word saying Happy Valentine's Day, honey, from my husband, who was supposed to be respecting me and trying to like capture my love back, gave me an envelope that had a ticket for himself to fly across the country to see our son by himself. So of course he leaves, packs his suitcases, and I'm distraught. Like all I did was cry that whole day. This boy Jack comes to me, hugs me, sits by me. We watch a movie together, and he says to me, you know, Mom, we had talked about divorce for years. And he always came and said, Mom, please, we're not going to get divorced. You're not going to. And I said, no, honey, the goal is not to get divorced, because that's not my goal. But this time he came and said, Mom, I want to talk about divorce again. I said, oh, honey, don't worry. I was trying to calm him down. And he says, no, Mom, listen, Mom, this time, because I can talk. Mom, this time be quiet. You listen to me. And I said, okay. And he said, Mom, I don't care about divorce. He said, I want you to do whatever you need to do so that we can be happy again. And so that was a month before we fled, because he doesn't give himself, he's too young yet, but he has so much more strength, so much more intelligence, so much more maturity emotionally than he will ever even probably understand. But he saved my life. He helped guide me towards where I needed to go by giving me a little bit of okay from my youngest baby that, like, you do whatever you need to do, Mom. Because, you know, he had always wanted me to not get divorced, and he knew that. And now he's telling me, like, I don't care, like, you go ahead. And then the call with my dad, my 80-some-year-old father, who we were always like this, right? I could talk to him when I moved to New York. I could call home and tell him stuff that I could never tell my mom, because she would come whip me home. And just amazing that what happened is, so the last straw is the next month, the boys go to school. I finally say, I'm not going to argue and fight with him anymore, because that was like the status quo. And now he's sober, but he's even more mean sober. He's not a nice sober.
How did you get the decision, Jack? How you decide how you went to your mom and tell her, like, get out of this marriage?
Everything was just spiraling down and out of our control, so I just wanted it to be back in hers. So, like, we just needed to do whatever we needed to do to get back on the tracks, be happy again.
Because you want to be happy again, because you were not happy there. Are you happier now?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know that you are, what I hear when your mom talk about you, I realize something, that you are her hero, you are her man. You are, she isn't undercover, okay, but you are her undercover, you are her protection. Why are you undercover?
Okay, because then as we fled, so this led up to us fleeing, and the day that I decided to flee was when the boys went to school, and he wanted to argue and fight, and I literally said, I'm not going to argue and fight with you anymore. I'm done. This isn't working, and I'm done. And I left the kitchen table, and I walked upstairs into my bedroom, and I shut the door. And I just wanted peace. And I hear boom, 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 pounding coming up the stairs. And I froze. I sat on my bed and I froze. And then it got quiet. And I thought, okay, maybe he's just going to leave. And then through the door came the big man, 6'3", 240 pounds, with a chair. And I did not know what was going to happen next. But luckily, he turned around, he shut the door, locked the door, put the chair in front of the door, sat down, and proceeded to F words, swear, curse. You're going to stay in this room. You're going to hear everything I have to say. You aren't leaving this room till I say you can leave this room. It was the most horrific 20 minutes, but I did
Controlling.
not.
He wants just to control.
And yell at me, scream at me, tell me what
emotionally abusing.
Oh, it was, and I sat on that bed. I wanted to get up and try to get, but I knew I couldn't. So I sat on that bed and I did not move. When he finally took a breath and stopped, I said, are you done? And he said, no, I'm not done. And he went on for a few more minutes. And he stopped again. And I finally started to say, you have to get him out of here. And so I said, you need to go to work.
Oh my God!
I finally
so smart.
said, I finally said, you have to go to work. You said you have a court or a meeting or something. You need to go to work. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. And so then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he started crying and being strange, and I don't know if he wanted me to come over there and console him. I don't know what was emotionally going on, but I was
He's depressed.
Right.
This is what I understand from all the story, that this man need help too. Mm-hmm. Like a human help, like psychological help, like medical help. You have to go and see a doctor. Please. You have to do that.
Yeah, and admit when you need help.
Not
because
you tried to help him for 25 years.
And when you're forced to go, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like then they accept a little bit, but they kind of don't. And that you're absolutely right. There's definitely depression there as well. And,
yes.
And it's hard when they're not treating that or wanting to treat it or accept that it's there. And that's a big thing too. I agree with you 100%. But for me then, he finally then did get up and leave, and I fell apart. I shook, I cried, I immediately called my father. Because that's my go-to, right? At that point, that's my go-to. Well, what he said is, he used to always, every time I'd call with some kind of craziness, he'd say, with the abuse and stuff, he'd say, what do you want to do, babe? At the end of my thing, he'd say, and I never was ready, I guess, and then I got quiet. I'd always get quiet. And he said, babe, I know you're in your 50s and I'm in my 80s. So you don't need your dad to tell you what to do or give you permission anymore. But he said, I do not think that God would want you to stay in a place where you don't feel safe or loved or whatever. So if what you need to hear from me is that I think it's okay or whatever it is you need to hear, like my permit, like I don't think you need to stay there. And that's all I needed to hear. I already knew it. Yeah. Jack told me, I knew it, but my dad's one last little tip me over.
But why you did need like the undercover?
Oh,
3 times.
So then, okay, so the next day the boys and I fled. I made the decision. I said, yep, Dad, I'm ready. That day I said on the phone to my dad, I said, yep, I'm leaving. He said, okay, then call your brother and tell him what's really going on, because I had never really told people what was really going on. They knew he was an addict, but they never knew about the abuse. So then we pack our bags and I tell the boys, and they're like, we're not staying here without you, so we all go together. So then that starts the whole thing, and you don't know what's going to happen. For some reason, again, I thought, we get away, it's going to get better. Well, some things got better, but he got extremely angry. He threatens us through text messages. Boys, if you go with your mom and stay with her, I'll give you no money. You'll get nothing. She doesn't have a job right now. You're going to get nothing. Well, I said, oh, he'll never not give us some money for like gas or food. Oh, he gave us nothing. So what we did, he thought we'd come crawling back. What we did was we ran farther. We never went back. We ran farther away because now you're angry. We were like, what? You're not going to give your kids even money for food or something? And then my boy in high school, we shared a car. It was a $130 a month payment. He started not making that payment, and then his cop friends in town decided to, they found out where we were living at this particular point now. This is months later. And found out where we were, and then literally there was the repo. Like he didn't pay the car payment, so then they came and repoed the car. Like all of a sudden, we really have nothing. Like we have a shelter, but I'm on assistance because we had to like go through like really, and I didn't even tell my boys we were on assistance because I was devastated. I was embarrassed. I was devastated. So I'm like, and I'm finally saying the words because I worked with the shelter. So I'm working with domestic abuse advocates. I'm working with women telling me, like, you're a victim. And I had one uncle, my dad's baby brother in Texas, who I never mentioned yet, but he was a key person who I trusted in my life as a man who lived far away, but who we always connected to. And I would talk to him over time about little things like this. And he's the man who, before my dad, and my dad could never say those words, but that man said to me, you do understand that you're an abused woman. Like, so these 2 men, really got me. But what really got me going was once I fled, so much started. And that's what people don't understand is people think that you flee and like everything's going to be better now. But the turmoil just started. My mental anguish started in other ways that I had to accept and go to women's domestic violence groups and sit there and pour my heart out and listen to other women's stories and see women in the shelter who were beat up and had scars from previous times. And then I would share my stories. And I did this every single week for months and months and months. And then I had to go to court, and then he would come after us, and like mostly me, but he was so angry. And then I had to get restraining orders, and I could have got an order for protection, but if I got an order for protection, he would have lost his job immediately. Like, I was still protecting him.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. How a person not just 6'3", but on the same time make his job as a power, okay, just to destroy lives. The government gave you this power to protect us, to protect your ex-wife, your kids, and us. Today, you are a danger.
True though, and to be honest, like obviously, he's the father of my children. He became a different person. I am very intuitive anyway. I do believe God gave me that power just by birth. But as I've been through traumas, as I have seen the first time literally evil in a juvenile, in the juvenile jail, in a murderer, where he and I didn't get along, and he was right in my face gonna hurt me, and I saw evil in him coming out through his eyes at me. Like I
How
really,
old
he was 16 years old. And
why
I saw,
he was in jail?
He murdered a woman and her kids.
Oh my God.
Like, so I literally saw evil, and it was so frightening to see evil and in such somebody so young. But that was the first time I ever saw evil, and I hope to never see it again ever. Then
now
what,
you see just angels.
well,
And you dream
but
about
here
angels.
I do. But here's what was the worst for me in my whole life: when I saw evil eyes come from my husband, and it put me into a state of shock. I didn't accept it. I didn't believe it, but it controlled me for a while. That evil, and then when I would go to court, I had a 2-day trial just for the divorce because a lot of this needed to come out. And I believed in the court system. I believed that any judge would hear this and do the right thing for me and my kids. That is not what happened, but we're not going to get into that today. I've had to accept those decisions as well. However, when I would be in court, I would on purpose, I had my advocates, I had some family, I had my girlfriend, I had people there with me, and I still didn't feel good or safe.
He was controlling you.
Yes, but I hadn't had my therapy yet, so I didn't feel strong yet, and I felt very afraid, and I didn't like it, but I felt this presence in the courtroom, and I would on purpose try to not let that power pull me. But one day, when the judge took her lunch and she goes back into her chambers and took her recess, they were on the side, so until they would leave, I wouldn't leave because I needed to go past them, right? And so I would wait. And he stood there, and I didn't look, but I could feel it, and it made me look. No, but it made me look. I looked, and I saw him standing there, and the evil devil, whatever you want to say, demon, it just stood there and stared like it did, like all the 3 evils that are 4 evils I saw before. And it was 2 other times in him, in my own home, 1 in public, and then in court. And I'm telling you, I turned back so fast, and I can't express to anybody enough. And then of course that's after I'm even more fearful. And then I kind of was like, whoa, did that just happen? Like And I feel like there's so much to be said for the good in this world and the evil and the right and the wrong. And now, my post-traumatic stress nightmares. I haven't slept through the night in 7 years. I don't know if I ever will, and I've accepted that. But as I continue to pray and have faith and not get mad at this world, at God, because of all the bad things that have happened in my life, and now having some family turn on me, and not support me and not understand my post-traumatic stress, or reach out and call me and ask if I'm okay, or help my boys, or ask if we need any money or a little support for I'm very disappointed in a lot of my own family. I still have faith, and I have angel visits in place. I have angels come to visit me and tell me good things and tell me, keep going with your truth. You are on the right path. Keep telling your truth. Don't let people control you. Have patience. You've been so patient. Continue on your patient path. Doors, and this is the one I didn't like at first, doors are going to close. And I didn't like it because I think I felt that it was some of my own family and some friends. But it said let them close.
But bigger doors.
But it said let them close because new doors are going to open. And I trusted, and look where I am today.
Yeah.
I'm with these wonderful people that I just met yesterday, and I shouldn't even be here in California with Jack because financially we are still so strapped and living boom, 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 and trying to make it and have people help us. We couldn't make it. We were so financially abused that I can't even live in an apartment because without a cosigner.
Yeah.
I can't live anywhere if someone doesn't cosign. Even if I can pay for the rent, which I can't even fully do yet, without someone helping to make. I can pay some and some. Like, I need help yet. I'm not there yet. I'm starting over again. We moved 4 times in 3 years to continue to get away. And now we're counties away. Thank the good Lord. And another blessing that Jack did was he made the tough decision to leave his buddies and friends. Because to start a new school, to get farther, to help both he and I out, he is a shining example of a student athlete right now.
We will talk about Jack, about that.
Yes.
It's just like doors close, bigger doors open. Today, Marilyn, she was struggling. Now she's going in bigger doors. She's writing a book. She's a motivator. Speech. She have a lot to say. She want to help women and girls. She have a mission. Okay, you will hear about her a lot in future. You will read her book, and you will find hope in every word she is writing. But before we finish. Because it's amazing, there is a lot, and we have to, it's not just one time. With Marilyn, it's like 1 day and 2 days and 3 days. Every day we discover something new. But let us go to Jack. Jack is a player in lacrosse. Okay, I have to read because it's my first time I hear about lacrosse. That you are here with the US Box LA national tournament. For this year.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that you have like videos that that they are pointing you on YouTube.
Yep.
Why they pointing you?
I don't know. It's kind of like just a highlight video. So every time, like for the season for my high school team or for my travel team, whenever I did something.
Because you are a very good player. Show me what is.
Yeah.
Can we see what is lacrosse? Do we have like time just to see what is lacrosse?
If you want. I mean,
That's gonna smell too bad.
Oh.
Wow.
But it's very stinky.
This is like
Isn't that cool?
The helmet, gloves.
Yeah.
Okay, we will put a video, small video for people to understand what is lacrosse.
Put your helmet on, Jack.
What?
And you should, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, because it'll look cool. Put your helmet and 2 gloves on and stick. That's easy. And the rest of the gear you don't have to put on. But they have like, you know, like.
Okay, this is my first time that I see what is lacrosse, guys. What? Yeah.
Right? Yeah, she's curious anyway, Jack. She's never watched it.
Never.
It's rough. That's why they have to be protected, because you can have concussions and you get hit, you get knocked
It's
to the
like
ground.
football?
They
American
take sticks.
football?
It's a hard rock ball. I mean, it
Okay.
hurts when you,
I don't think I have one, but like it's just rubber.
It's a hard rubber.
And how to play?
So like you pass the ball to your teammates, and then it's kind of like soccer where you just have to try to get it in the net.
Yeah.
So like you try to throw the ball from your stick into the goal. That's what my
think
position
it's
is.
Pass
easy.
it to each other.
It's not easy? Huh?
It's definitely not harder.
Guys, thank you so much being with me. I'm Amira Barkat and Jason behind the camera. Today I had Marilyn. She's from Minnesota, and Jack, her son, her hero. And I wish them all luck. You will see them more and more. And I hope to see you again.
Oh, yes. We want to come back.
Ah, yes. And I will read your book.
Perfect. And then we have to do a little shout out, because Minnesota True Lacrosse is huge, and that's who is here with Jack. That's why we're here, because the Minnesota True Lacrosse has been golden to Jack and I. We love you guys.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you, Amira Barkat. Bye.